because that's exactly what happened last night. It was absolutely abysmal. Abysmal.
Yeah, well, we're going to cover all of that for you tonight. I mean, tonight, this morning. I mean, it'll take
It
us
still
till
feels like
tonight.
tonight. I know.
Let me tell you how bad the debate was, right? And mind you, I didn't even watch it all. I asked my youngest daughter. We're gonna actually have some Gen Z. She's not even a millennial. She's Gen Z. She's a college freshman at Howard, and she had to watch it for class. So I was like, great. So I want you to like just text me your thoughts throughout, right? So I was like kind of off the hook, and I was trying to go to sleep, but periodically I'd wake up and I'd catch a bit of it. It was so bad that I woke up this morning and I had dreamed, and the dream was so real that I had already gone to vote. I mean, like the real, not like my early voting. Like
Right.
I was like, I dreamed that I was waking up waiting for the election results. Like, okay, did Biden win? I was like, what? I'm talking like I had to like really shake myself. That's how bad and traumatizing what I saw was, and I didn't even see the entire 90 minutes completely. I got much of that this morning when I woke up.
I saw the 90 minutes. I had a terrible, terrible headache when it was all over with.
Yeah.
It was absolutely chaotic. Chris Wallace had no control, but I don't want to make this about Chris Wallace because it wasn't Chris Wallace's fault that the president of the United States has absolutely no respect, no impulse control whatsoever, and is like a little child that's not getting his way. That is problematic. One of the things that Trump said during the debate last night was that he felt like he was debating Chris Wallace and not Joe Biden. And so then by the end of the night, Trumpers across the country, they were doing, online polls and stuff, felt like that Chris Wallace was against the president. I'm like, Chris Wallace wasn't against the president. The president was causing so much confusion and chaos that he kept trying to rein him back in and bring some control so they could actually have a conversation and a legitimate debate, which it never turned into. It turned into name calling. And for the most part, I mean, Biden did try to put out some policy ideas and things that he wanted to do, but he was always interrupted when he was starting to make a point. I checked this out every time he did it. When he was really starting to make a point that looked like it was going to ring true for people listening, Trump interrupted him and totally distracted him from what he was doing. It was absolutely sinister and evil from my understanding, and I just felt like, wow, we are in deep trouble. And then when Chris Wallace asked him about the whole white supremacy thing, we could probably spend a whole segment talking about this. The Proud Boys, when he said to his people, stand back and stand by, the Proud Boys changed their logo on their website, on several of their websites to say stand back and stand by, because folk came to Philly he sent poll watchers to Philadelphia. Now, there's a new law. I mean, well, there was reaffirmed that you have to live in the county to be able to be a poll watcher at the polls here in Pennsylvania. And so they sent people from around the country here to go watch the polls to see what's going on, which was really more about intimidation than it was anything else. And the bottom line is, they got rebuked. Now, I'm going to tell you what I posted on Facebook. And nothing's cussing, but what I did say last night is that let me tell you something about Philadelphia. I said, if you don't start none, won't be none. We might not swing first, but we will swing last and be the only one standing. So, this don't people get their hearts pumped up out there because 45 is telling them to stand back and stand by. I was like, y'all really don't know Philly. So we will handle some business.
Well, yeah, and I mean, and not to mention, I missed this because I kind of tuned in toward the end, right at that part where he went on Philly, and his quote was, "Bad things happen in Philadelphia." I'm saying I can't wait for that T-shirt to come out, right?
There's already people printing it. There's already people printing that.
Man, I saw Kellen White, who works for City Controller Rebecca Reinhardt, just posted this morning that he's actually going to have a union printer make the shirts. Wanted to know if people wanted them. There's already like 107 comments. So, Kellen, I want a black XL, right? And don't give me that cheap cotton. In fact, I want a long sleeve, I want a short sleeve, and I want the hoodie.
Yes.
Bad things happen in Philadelphia. That's like, I mean, you can see somebody wearing that shirt like after a long night. Man, what happened to you? Man, bad things happen in Philadelphia, bruh.
Wow. Well, bad things are going to happen, hopefully, in Philadelphia for Donald Trump. That's what we want.
Well, exactly. So let's all right. So listen. First of all, if you're watching this morning on Facebook Live, do us a big favor and hit the share button. Don't be ashamed that you're watching this program. Bring your friends and your family in on today. Let them be a part of this conversation. Glad to see already those of you who are logging in. Glad to see Raphael, Gary, Bernita. Glad to see Carmen and Francis and Lois. Lewis. Sorry about that. And glad to see Leslie on this morning as well, who I know has already hit the share button. So listen, the big topics, obviously, COVID-19, racism in America, and the economy, right? I mean, those were the big three that really kind of dominated this debate. This was an absolute train wreck from beginning to end. As I said again, hey, Sheila, glad to see you and Terrell as well in this morning. So from Generation Z, Madison said, I couldn't look away. It was like watching a horrible train crash. This is a 17-year-old college freshman, right? I mean, she said by the end, she said, I'm going to be honest, this is sounding like white noise now. I mean, there is also, before we get into the substance or lack thereof, I've heard and seen so many comments in just the last few hours, before going to bed and waking up, from just really disgusted, college professors and, high school teachers who teach in civics and political science, just about how this is just turning off a generation of young people from the political process. Because if the debate is nothing else, though we typically walk away from it like just really angry at the other side because we feel like they're misrepresenting our views or they're on the wrong agenda, you still feel as though it was actually an exchange of ideas, even if you didn't agree. What we saw last night was even worse than 2016, if you can believe that. Now, the question I think for many of us really is not how we interpreted it, but how did white middle America, and by middle, I'm not just saying like the middle, like Iowa and South Dakota, but like the middle of Pennsylvania, the middle, right? The middle of these places outside of the big cities. How did they see and receive this debate? Because I think that often is the part that gets missed by us in our focus on the things that just jump out at us. Honestly, I don't think many of those places are talking about his conversation on race, which was, good God.
A conversation on race.
He said, he told the Proud Boys, first of all, can we just, you touched on this, but he could not bring himself to condemn white supremacist organizations. He laid out the argument that in this moment, most of the violence, almost all the violence, he said, has come from the far left. Antifa, which he keeps talking about. Right. But to my knowledge, there have been no far left murders of people in the middle of these protests. There have been far right people running people over and killing them with cars, shooting them with AR-15 style rifles, and other types of attacks like that. Folk coming out of their homes with assault rifles at peaceful protesters who were walking down the street. Right. And in this moment, he could not say it. He told them to stand down and stand by.
Yes. He said stand back and stand by.
Oh, stand back and stand by? What does that mean?
That means that he's waiting for, he's talking in code to them and preparing them for when he says go for it, which will probably be November 4th. Mm-hmm. Right? That'll probably be the day that he calls them out, right? He speaks in this coded language all the time, right? He does this dog whistle thing where, reason it's called dog whistle is because dogs can hear at a certain level, a certain pitch that humans can't hear. So when you blow a dog whistle, you can't hear it, but dogs can, and they come to their master. And so in this particular circumstance, Trump is the master of these white young men mostly who are deeply troubled and confused about their place in the world. And I shouldn't really call them young men because in many ways they act like animals. But the reality is that he sent out a dog whistle. He was like, you wait, hold it, sit and wait. I'll call you when I'm ready. So that he can send out his next dog whistle when he's ready for them to go into action, which is exactly what he plans on doing. and it's absolutely tragic.
Well, I mean, listen, this is why I continue to go back to the fact that this has to be a landslide. I mean, the election cannot even be remotely close. It has to be an overall repudiation of him, where there is such a landslide in the electoral college and in the popular vote that even if he tries to blow said dog whistle, that it just goes nowhere because, I mean, again, when you've lost, 30 to 35 states, that you can't even make the argument anymore that it might be close. And so I'm telling you that's what has to happen, especially in Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania cannot be close because of what you said. Now, speaking of race, where he really struggled, I mean, so if you thought that was bad, which it was, I have this clip queued up. Kuwesa, this is Donald Trump on trying to explain why, and thanks to Chris Wallace, in spite of the way he's getting panned, for continually trying to bring him back to task, right? But trying to get him to answer why he has ended racial sensitivity training in the government and what the issue is. But listen to this rambling answer of his. Go right ahead, Kwesi.
Why did you decide to do that, to end racial sensitivity training? And do you believe that there is systemic racism in this country, sir?
I ended it because it's racist. I ended it because a lot of people were complaining that they were asked to do things that were absolutely insane, that it was a radical revolution that was taking place in our military, in our schools, all over the place, and you know it, and so does everybody else.
And he would know. What is radical about racial sensitivity training, sir?
If you were a certain person, you had no status in life. It was sort of a reversal. And if you look at the people, we were paying people hundreds of thousands of dollars to teach very bad ideas and, frankly, very sick ideas. And really, they were teaching people to hate our country. And I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to allow that to happen. We have to go back to the core values of this country. They were teaching people that our country is a horrible place, it's a racist place, and they were teaching people to hate our country. And I'm not going to allow that to happen.
Oh, wow. Is it too early in the morning for an Advil?
Yeah, well, that's why I said I had a headache when this was all over last night. And, I mean, one of the things that we also need to take in consideration, right, that this is not only stopping racial sensitivity training and diversity training in the government, he is also threatened through Betsy DeVos, who is the Secretary of Education, that any school district that was teaching the New York Times 1619 curriculum, which was putting slavery in its proper context in American history and really talking deeply about how the United States was founded on an economy of slavery and part of the reasons why race and racism continues to manifest itself to today, that they would take away federal funding for any school district that was teaching the 1619 curriculum, that was using this curriculum, that was recognized award-winning curriculum, that was really helping to address race and really put American history in its proper context, that they would cut funding, federal funding for children that have special needs, federal funding for children that need food programs, the Title IX programs, federal funding for school districts that were struggling across the country, federal funding that would have gone to districts that were in rural areas. Federal funding would be cut if they taught the 1619 curriculum instead of a curriculum that dealt very poorly with slavery and race in this country and basically wiped out black people from the imagination and from the history of this nation. Absolutely tragic, right? This guy is an absolute racist. He absolutely still thinks he's the best president for black people ever since Abraham Lincoln. And, oh, by the way, let me just say something about Abraham Lincoln while I got a second here before we got to go take a break. That Abraham Lincoln, while he used slavery as a vehicle to, incite this and keep the Civil War going, Abraham Lincoln did not believe in the equality of black folk with white folk in this country. It was not a premise that he actually believed in. So, yes, Did the Civil War go and fight to free slavery? Yes, but it was also a vehicle to be able to, for him to be able to energize the northern base and bring the southern, and to get the Southerns to come back and become one America all over again. And he did not believe in full equality for black folk with white folk in America. So if Donald Trump's saying he's the best president that there is for black folk since Abraham Lincoln, he himself does not believe in the equality of black folk and white folk in America. Okay, thank you very much.
So there you have it. Listen, I mean, you know, I thought Biden was effective in a lot of different places when he could get a word in edgewise. I thought that he did a much better job, you know, than Hillary Clinton not being just thrown off by Trump's talking over him. So we can get into some of that too on the other side of the break. Love to see your comments on Facebook Live about what you thought were the more effective parts of the debate from either person or the parts that you just particularly didn't care for. But we want to see your comments there. Follow us on social media. You can check us out at Word Radio. That's WURD. Check us out. We'll be right back on the other side of the break.
Have you heard about Penny? They make it easier than ever to get health coverage.
What if I'm self-employed?
Penny gets you covered.
Unemployed?
Penny gets you covered.
What about my family?
Penny gets them covered too.
But will this fit into my budget?
Penny can connect you to financial help to lower the cost.
Really? Where do I go?
Easy. Just go to PENNIE.com.
Keystone First VIP Choice HMO SNP Dual Eligible Special Needs Plan has a 4 out of 5 star rating and is one of the highest rated Medicare plans in the region. Keystone First VIP Choice and you are better together. If you live in Philadelphia, Bucks, Chester, Montgomery, or Delaware County, and you have both Medicare and Medicaid, choose the Medicare plan that is working to help you get better care. Enjoy extra benefits at no cost to you with Keystone First VIP Choice. You get benefits like dental, vision, and transportation to and from your medical appointments. They also cover a fitness membership to a gym of your choice. $150 toward over-the-counter pharmacy items. There's no copay for doctor's visits. They offer a large provider network, a great prescription plan, dental coverage, and even eyeglasses. Plus, you don't have to wait for open enrollment. You can change your coverage every quarter. Keystone First VIP Choice. The name you trust, the service you deserve. Call Keystone First VIP Choice today at 1-877-686-1760 or visit KeystoneFirstVIPChoice.com.
Family Therapy Vignette Moments with Dr. Lucille Ijoy. It's never too early to talk about registration and voting. Listen to this rap about registration and voting. It's called A Two-Step by Dr. Lucille W. Ijoy and Bill D. Jolly. Listen to Grandmama and take this special note. Step 1 is registration. Step 2, go out and vote. It's called a two-step. It's called a two-step. Yeah, the two-step. It's called a two-step. Calling all citizens, don't you delay. It's time to do the two-step and do it right away. You say you want to have, you say you want to change. Well, get up off your duck, you have the power to arrange. Two-step, it's called the two-step. Yeah, the two-step, it's called the two-step. Listen to Grandmama and take this special note. Step 1 is registration. Step 2, go out and vote. It's called a two-step. It's called a two-step. Yeah.
Now, a traffic update on Word Radio.
Good morning. Some light volume building southbound 95 coming down through bridge through the construction. Again, Betsy Ross through Girard, northbound not bad. Vine Expressway moving fine through Center City, westbound Schuylkill from through University through 30th. Volume there building again through a construction zone. No major problems on the PA Turnpike or the Blue Route 476 this morning. In New Jersey, 42, 55, 295 look good. No problems on the bridges into the city so far. For more traffic information, log on to sigalert.com. Jim Bachman with your Philadelphia area traffic.
You're listening to Word Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD, independent black media.
Good morning and welcome back to the Power Hour with Mark Kelly Tyler and Dwayne Royster. We are mixing it up this morning over the debate last night. Some of us didn't get much sleep. I just want to give a quick shout out to Kawesa, who was Facebooking me in the middle of the debate last night, and that she made it early this morning into the studio. to do everything that she needs to do. Thank you, Koasa, for all that you do. Just want to acknowledge that. And yeah, this was wow. I don't even know how to aptly describe the disaster that occurred last night. And you know, Raphael had this comment on there earlier. Well, actually, Raphael, wait a minute, let's read this one. Raphael just said Trump won the debate. If you consider what he was trying to do by jumping on Biden, agitating him, and getting him to disavow parts of the Democratic